We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Glory UGA podcast brought to you by our good friends at MyBookie and Alumni Hall. And while, yes, the roster movement has slowed down some here in the second week of the transfer portal, slowing down does not mean it has completely stopped. So I do have some roster news to update you guys on and break down here today on the show, including a new transfer portal addition, a highly intriguing new addition to the portal that Georgia is very much a player for at a premier position, and a few names that have left the Georgia roster and entered the transfer portal. So we'll be all over that, guys. So first, if you are a diehard Georgia fan, go ahead. If you haven't already, subscribe right now. Turn those notifications on because we're going to keep updating you guys on the transfer portal and the roster movement as this thing closes up on Friday. The next week, we'll have a full recap of Georgia's efforts during this transfer portal window. We'll grade Georgia's performance during this transfer portal window. So a ton of great content coming your way. Subscribe, turn those notifications on, like, comment, all that great stuff. But all right, guys. This week has certainly not been as eventful as last week on the transfer front. It seemed like last week things were, man, like every single day we were getting like multiple names entering the portal, guys that Georgia's after, guys that Georgia's adding. We had one day where Georgia has 3 guys from the portal. A lot going on last week, and things were flying fast. This week, not so much. Haven't seen a ton of movement, but that also does not mean it has been entirely quiet on the transfer portal front. Let's go ahead and dive in, guys. Going back to Tuesday. Last time I was here with you guys was Monday afternoon. Here I am sitting here. It's Thursday. Back on Tuesday, Gentry Williams, who is a DB from Oklahoma, he's a name that Georgia had been connected with. It certainly seemed like he was a target of ours. But when you add guys like Khalil Barnes and you add Riddle from ECU, it's like, okay, well, is there still room for Gentry Williams? And the answer is yes, obviously there is, because Gentry Williams has committed to Georgia and will be on the Bulldogs 2026 roster. This is an intriguing addition for Georgia. I like it. It's a lot like Khalil Barnes and to a lesser degree Riddle. This is a veteran DB that has real experience. Now, Riddle didn't have experience at the Power 4 level, but was very productive at the G5 level. Khalil Barnes is a 3-year starter at Clemson. Gentry Williams is not a 3-year or 4-year starter at Oklahoma, but he is a guy that has real starting experience at an SEC school. He's the 4th DB we've added to the roster in the transfer portal window. So clearly that was a position that our coaches felt really needed to be addressed this offseason. Khalil Barnes coming from Clemson. We mentioned Jamarlee Riddle from ECU, and then Braylon Conley from USC, who didn't really play much for USC, so I don't really exactly know what we're getting there, but you know, Dante Williams, one of our DB coaches, obviously had a connection with Conley, probably was involved with his recruitment at USC, so there's that relationship. So we'll see what he can offer us, but Gentry Williams becomes the 4th DB addition, and this guy is an interesting addition, guys. He is a former top 100 recruit, fringe top 75 recruit when he came out of high school. He's not the biggest guy in the world, about 5'11", 185, so not quite as big as Barnes, certainly not as big as Riddle is, more on the size of Braylon Conley. His career at Oklahoma's trajectories, it's kind of all over the place. So as a true freshman back in 2022, didn't start any games, but got some real playing time as a true freshman. Then in 2023, he takes that step and started 10 games for Oklahoma, has 4 interceptions in his career, had 3 interceptions in 2023. Then he played 2 games in 2024 and suffered a season-ending injury. And it was a long road for him to get back. And coming back in the 2025 year, he kind of gotten passed up. Some other guys had kind of jumped to the forefront there, and he just had a hard time getting on the field. But again, he does have real experience at the Power 4 level and has some real versatility. Now, when he was starting for them, those 10 games he started back in 2023, he was primarily playing corner. If you go back and watch the Texas game from that game, because I tried to go find some clips of him once I saw that we were really clearly targeting this guy. Played well in that Texas game. I think like one of the first snaps from scrimmage in that game picked off Quinn Ewers. He's a really well-read play. Like he clearly read the route, slant, looks at the quarterback's eyes, and breaks on the football, makes the interception. So he was productive in that season. Unfortunately, wasn't able to build off of that because he did suffer that season-ending injury. But he did play corner, also has the ability to play safety as well, could potentially play star on the size, 5'11", 185. That's not a prototype star defender profile for George, because you do need to be able to like actually fit against the run in the box. Like that's a big part of what the star defender does. But he was certainly better in coverage there than what we had last year with a guy, certainly with Janelle Aguero, who's more of that body type looking for star, but struggled in coverage at times. So he can help address that. Maybe he's a guy that could come in on third downs and be that 6 DB at times in certain packages and be more of a cover guy. But I think this is a great addition. Like, what is the risk here? There's no risk here, right? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. At the very least, he gives you real quality depth, a guy with real experience at the power forward level. And here's another thing I don't think you can overlook with Gentry Williams. Not only does he have real experience on the field, but everything you hear about this guy and read about him, you hear about how his former coaches talk about him, he seems like he's a great locker room guy. Because when you're adding dudes from the portal, like it's hit or miss in terms of like the character you're adding and the fit. Because everything is accelerated. The recruiting process is accelerated. You're not recruiting a guy for 2-3 years like you are when you're recruiting at the high school level. You know their family, like you know their mom, their dad, their brother, their uncle, their girlfriend, their best friend, their neighbor. You know everybody. With the transfer portal, like they might visit one time. You might have a couple conversations on the phone. Their agent's talking about money. Like you don't really get to know them. So it's hit or miss when you're talking about like what kind of guy you bring in, right? For every Zachariah Branch, like you can get a Ra Thomas. Like no shade. I'm trying to like slander anybody, but like off the field issues. Like it happens. So that's doesn't seem like that's something we're going to have to worry about with Gentry Williams. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It seems like he's going to be a great addition to the locker room. There's a quote that I read, I think it was on 3, one of those sites out there. This is coming from Brent Venables, his former head coach at Oklahoma. Venables says, quote, "He's a wonderful leader and he's got a great positive energy about him and tremendous wisdom as well. He's a really connected guy, one of our best leaders on our team, and I'm excited to see him have success. I know he's going to play his best. He's going to play his best year for football." So that was the quote, I think, coming into this season. And that's the kind of guy you're talking about. So not only does he have experience, not only has he been productive when healthy, he also has that type of leadership. He's the kind of guy that we are looking for to fit the Georgia culture, the Georgia program. I think that also matters, guys. That absolutely 100% matters. Zero doubt about it. So I think it's a great addition. Again, what's the risk here? No risk. At the very least, he's going to be a quality veteran depth piece and a good voice in the locker room and in that DB room. So great addition there. Now, this next one, guys, like, let's get real here. I am freaking excited. Now, I'm trying not to get too excited. I'm trying to temper my expectations and my excitement level here because we haven't landed him yet. But we're in the picture. It seems like we're shooting our shot here with a guy named Bryson Beaver. What a name. Yes, Bryson Beaver. Let's talk about his background. So he signed with Oregon as a member of this 2026 recruiting class, like the recruiting class right now that just signed. That signed back in December. He enrolled at Oregon, I think, on the 5th of January. So I'm talking like a week and a half ago. However, he just entered the transfer portal yesterday. Why, might you ask? Well, I'm sure all of you saw the big news in the college football world yesterday that Oregon quarterback Dante Moore, who was highly expected to enter the NFL draft, and the thought was he'd be one of the top quarterbacks taken in this year's NFL draft. He decided and announced that he is coming back to Oregon next year. That was an unexpected move. But guys, Oregon didn't even expect it. They went out and landed Dylan Raiola out of the transfer portal. So I think this surprised everyone there. So now they got a mess at Oregon. Like, I don't know if it's a mess. I guess it's a good problem to have. I'm not sure what Raiola is going to do. It looks like as of right now, he's going to stay with Oregon, last I heard, and be the backup this year, and then be the guy next year, like, or be the guy in 2027. Like, we'll see if that's how that's going to work. Because I don't know if Raiola, like, I don't know if that was what he thought was going to happen. Now, clearly not when he went to Oregon. So he still has time to enter the portal himself. We'll see what happens there. But Bryson Beaver, seeing all of this, is like, well, that just completely took my opportunity away. Because it's like, look, Raiola's coming in. But now if Moore's coming back and Raiola's going to stick around, well, he's clearly going to be the heir apparent to Dante Moore. So it'll be Moore in 26, Raiola in 27. Then where do I fit in? So he's like, I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'm going to enter the transfer portal. And now he is available, guys. And Georgia has been prominently mentioned in his recruiting. It seems like we're going to make a push here, guys. Like, we are taking a big swing here. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't want to get your hopes up. I don't want to say that we're going to land him, but we are actively involved in this recruitment from basically everything that I am hearing. And I am not going to beat around the bush here, guys. I want Bryson Beaver. If you haven't watched his tape, I implore you, after this video, finish the video, go turn on his tape. Go to Huddle and look up his high school tape and tell me that you do not want this football player on the Georgia roster. This is exactly the type of quarterback that I have felt that we should have been recruiting for quite some time. I've been wanting us for quite some time to move away from the traditional pocket passer. And we tried at times, we tried to get some of those guys, but we need to go out and we need to get these athletic playmakers, these do-it-there guys that, yes, can beat you in the pocket, but also can be playmakers outside the pocket as well. And that is exactly what Bryson Beaver profiles as. If you go watch his tape, my comp, it's not a perfect comp, but when I watch his high school tape, what I see is shades of Sam Levitt from Arizona State, right? Formerly Arizona State. I think he is a legit dual threat guy. I don't think he's maybe quite as fast as Levitt. Like when Levitt gets going, guys, he is a home run threat, explosive. I don't know if Beaver's got quite that top end speed, but he's fast and he is twitchy, man. Like he is very twitchy in the open field. But here's what I really like about Beaver. It's a multitude of things. He's the kind of guy that can beat you in a variety of ways. He can beat you from the pocket with his arm. He's got really good pocket presence. He'll step up in the pocket. He'll slide well. He's not looking to run first, even though he does have that ability to take off and hurt you with his legs. So yes, he can beat you on platform, which is a great starting point. Like we love dual threat guys, but I also want a guy that can beat you from the pocket. Look at Trinidad Chambliss. He can do all the crazy stuff, throwing off platform, can use his legs, can scramble, can extend plays, but he can also sit in the pocket and beat you. We saw that firsthand, right, in the Sugar Bowl. But beyond that, it's not just that. I want guys that can do that, but are not limited to that they can only beat you in that way. Bryson Beaver can absolutely beat you outside the pocket just as easily he can beat you inside the pocket. He can extend plays. He can beat you off platform. Guys, the types of throws he's making, I hate to say it's like Patrick Mahomes-esque, but it is what it is. If you've been watching Caleb Williams, you've watched him in the playoffs last week, some of these ridiculous throws, how did you make that throw? Kind of how did you throw the ball from that arm angle? That kind of thing. He has that ability in spades, guys. He can also beat you with his legs. What I'm telling you is I think Bryson Beaver is a legit, bona fide playmaker at the most important position on the field, which, of course, in my opinion, I think is pretty clear, the quarterback position. And look, I love Ryan Puglisi. I think Puglisi would definitely still be the favorite to win that job in the post-Gunnar Stockton era. But what I'll say is if we somehow do end up landing Beaver would make Puglisi earn it. And that's great, man. I want competition. I don't want to be Puglisi's the only guy that we have that can actually, make a run for this job. I want somebody else that can come in there and can push him and let the best man win the job. I'm not saying I don't believe in Puglisi. I do. I love that guy. I think he's going to be really good. But Beaver, Puglisi's athletic, Beaver's a different level athlete. We haven't had an athlete like this at quarterback, guys. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to land him. Kentucky's heavily involved. I know you're like, Kentucky? What? That's Georgia's competition here? Well, Will Stein, the new head coach of Kentucky, was the Oregon OC and was the guy recruiting him. So obviously there's a clear connection there. So they're going to be they're heavily involved here too. I don't know. I don't know what to think here, but I know that we are taking our swing, we're shooting our shot, and we'll see what happens. And if we land him, guys, I will be all over it because I love this guy. Exactly the type of player that I think Georgia needs to be adding at the quarterback position. All right, last couple things here, guys. So that's great news. We love that stuff. But, the transfer report will give it, and it also take it. And it took a couple guys from our presumptive 2026 roster. Dominic Kelly is going into his second year, cornerback, DB. He announced yesterday that he is entering the portal. Don't love that. I really liked what I saw from Dominic Kelly in spot duty and garbage time duty this year. I mean, clearly it wasn't real, significant, meaningful playing time. But with Georgia adding 4 guys in the secondary, look, you run the risk of losing guys. When you add guys like that, now maybe our coaches had an inkling he was entering the portal, but what I imagine what seems like happened since he's entering the portal so late in the cycle, it closes on Wednesday, just a couple days left to enter the portal and find a spot. I imagine with all the names that we're adding, he's looking at this hey man, why are you bringing in competition? You don't believe me? You don't trust me? You bring all these veterans. I'm a young guy. These guys are going to be above me. So, he decides he's going to enter the transfer portal. And look, He was unlikely to start this year. I mean, it's pretty clear. Ellis Robinson, the force, and I have one of those spots, and I would assume DeMelo Jones, and those are your top two guys for his up to stars. I thought Kelly had a chance to push, maybe. Like, there's always competition, but I thought it was very unlikely that he was going to be able to unseat one of those two guys and be a starter for Georgia. Now, two deep, I expected him to be in the two deep. And I really do like the long-term potential, but without the obvious path to playing time immediately in 2026, I understand why he would not want to wait around and wait like his junior year to be his first year to get like real serious, meaningful playing time. So he's entered the portal. Don't love that, but it's also not one of those things like it's going to really like have a tangible impact, a significant tangible impact on our 2026 year unless we have injuries. But that's why you bring in all those veteran DBs you got from the portal, because those guys have versatility. They can play different spots, whether that's safety, whether that's star, whether that's cornerback. I think Gentry Williams is one of those guys that certainly fits that bill. And then today we got news that a reserve offensive lineman, Jamal Merriweather, career reserve offensive lineman Jamal Merriweather, 6'7", 305, going into his fourth year at the college level, has just never been able to crack the lineup at Georgia or even crack the rotation. He's kind of been one of those guys, the utility guy, could play some guard, could play some tackle for us, but was just, even with spots that were open, was never really able to make a push and be a guy that was going to lay claim to playing time. He had multiple freshmen pass you by last year in Dontrell Glover and Juan Gaston. So I understand, like, the clock is ticking for this guy. He's going into his fourth year. He's got 2 years left to play. So I completely understand he wasn't going to start for us this year. He would have depth piece. Would he have been in the 2D? Yeah, probably. But he almost certainly would not have been our first guy off the bench at either guard or tackle. So I completely understand that, and I absolutely wish him the best. I get it. But like with Kelly, I don't think this is going to have a tangible impact on Georgia's chances to win national title in 2026. From a depth standpoint, it's hurt a little bit, sure, maybe, but not a significant loss there. But all right, guys, that is your Thursday update, transfer portal update, roster update. And if anything happens, guys, like if we land Beaver, I'm going to do my very best to hop on here and update you guys on that if that happens in the next 24 hours. I am actually going out of town this weekend, so if it happens over the weekend, I won't be able to record it, but I will record it first thing when I get back on Monday. But hopefully, man, he'll pop here the next 24 hours before I get out of town, and we can jump on here and we can talk about it. But thank you guys so much for being here. I greatly appreciate you. I'm Tyler, and as always, go Dogs!